Hello, this is Jess Hay from Creative Cards to You. Well, I'm starting a new series called Fun Fold Fridays. This first easel card is so easy once you get the hang of it. You can download my how-to guide in the description below. To get started, I cut a piece of two-sided designer paper from Graphic 45's Ocean Blue Keepsake Edition to 8.5 by 4.25 inches. I scored it at 4 1/4 and then turned it around and scored it at 2 1/8. I folded it in on itself, and this will make the fold that we will decorate. Next, I cut two light panels from cardstock I had in my stash into 5 1/4 by 1 7/8 inches. I ran it through a Spellbinder's fishing net embossing folder for a little something extra. These are the panels that I will glue onto the 2 1/4 inch rectangles. I used frayed burlap distress ink and ran the ink pad over the raised areas of the net to make it stand out more. I also ended up inking the edges of some of the other die cuts that I will use as well. Next, I glued the embossed panels to the 5 1/4 by 2 1/8 rectangles, making sure that they were centered. I then glued the 5 1/4 by 4 inch light panel to the inside of the card. This panel is what the card will fold onto, and it is what you can also write your sentiment on. Then I glued 3 strips that I cut from the designer paper. They were 5 1/4 inches long, and I alternated having a dark strip, a lighter strip, and then this final strip that I used I cut with a border die from Elizabeth Craft Design to make ocean waves. I thought that was kind of a fun touch. You might notice I cut one a little bit short so you can see the background underneath, and I just put a shell die cut on top of it to kind of hide that. Next, I die cut 2 larger elements to glue on the left-hand side of the card base as something that the card can rest on when it's folded over. That's the starfish and the sand dollar. And I put glue kind of on the middle of the starfish so that some of the arms were kind of up so that you could rest the card onto it. After that, I glued the squarish element that I cut to a darking matting layer. You could cut it any size you want to, but I think I did 3 1/4 by 4 inches for the smaller one, and then the matting layer was 3 1/2 inches by 4 1/4 inches. I glued some die cut elements to the right of the bottom rectangle, making sure to only put glue on the bottom part of the folded card so that the elements stick up when you fold it and they're not glued to that top rectangle piece. I then glued the square to the other side, again only putting glue on the bottom of it. Now, I scanned a bunch of the die cuts that came in the ephemera pack and printed them onto matte photo paper so that I can make more cards with them and reuse them. So the text elements that you see me use are ones that I did that with and I fussy cut out. This is a Father's Day card for my dad, who is a fisherman. He lives on the Oregon coast and takes people out on his dory, sport fishing in the ocean. He also has crab pots that he pulls too, so I thought this crab was kind of a good focal point. There you have it, a completed card. The next video is a birthday card that I made with similar elements. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.